What's happening, guys? This is Mike J, of course. This is based in reality, but this is going to be another one of the bonus episodes today. It's not going to be a part of the series where I'm at episode 19, I guess. And I do have a co-host, and I have little princess here. Dora is around somewhere as well. They're both just being crazy, jumping on the laptop and doing their thing. They've come a long way since when I found them behind the shed, and they were, half dead. But anyways, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel and like and share the videos. It helps a ton. Like I said on my last one, it helps break into the algorithm, which I haven't been in yet, so it'd be nice to eventually. Also, subscribe on Rumble if you're on there. I was pretty skeptical at first, but it seems like a pretty cool platform. It's I guess they call it a YouTube alternative, but it's got a bunch of different features that's completely different than YouTube. So I don't know. And also, audio version is available on anywhere you can find podcasts, pretty much. Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, some weird French Canadian one called Himalaya. I don't know if anybody uses that, probably not, but it's on there. And Anchor, of course. Anyways, so I did an episode yesterday on the Proud Boys, and I was kind of talking about the last couple of years of what's been going on. So I decided that I'm going to do a little bonus episode today, just kind of on who I am, because I haven't really released that information. Not too much of it anyways yet. So I am 31 from Windsor, Ontario, Canada, as I mention quite often. It's obviously pretty Canadian, but also pretty American. We're one of the only cities that we get a lot of American mannerisms. We don't have all the Canadian like tropes and little stories about us and everything. You know what I mean? And we talk like Californians for some reason, and that's just strange because we're very similar to Michigan, and we're 5 seconds away, but somehow we have the same accent as California. But anyways, so I began getting oh my god, nice words. I began getting into politics when I was younger. I always kind of found it interesting, not necessarily like into like make it a show like I am now, but I remember like late 90s, early 2000s when like the Bush and the Bush and Gore election was going on, and I remember just being like blown away by that, like the whole recount. I believe that was 2004, and I remember when I heard the name George Bush, I had known his dad was a president. I didn't know much about politics, but I was like, oh, that guy needs to be in office. Shows how much I knew, right? But again, Gore was a moron too. So, I mean, gotta pick your battles, I guess. But anyways, yeah, I've always found it interesting, like back in those days. I didn't get into it until later. I remember I found like the whole election of Barack very interesting as well. Like I always had like a like kind of a general knowledge about it until I think about 2009 or 10. That's when I really started watching like MSNBC, Fox News, Real Time with Bill Maher was like a big one because I wasn't necessarily like a liberal, but I thought I stood more on the left side of things, and like my grandparents were very I wouldn't even say liberal as well. They were very pro like free speech and very pro like being yourself, but they were, I guess, yeah, kind of hippie-ish liberal, not very conservative, I should say. Like they paid their bills and they did everything right, but they weren't like beating me over the head with a Bible or anything like that. which, that's what we thought conservatives were back in those days. But I used to go to their house all the time, and we would watch those shows. And I remember making fun of the Republican Party so hard back in those days. And I mean, looking back at it now as a 20 something year old kid, yeah, we make fun of the Republicans because they were so like stuffy and just so blah at that time. And like Barack was like the cool guy, right? And I remember, mind you, up until 2016, I had a pretty bad addiction as well. Like I went through all that. So, I mean, the politics was kind of on the back burner. It wasn't anything I was very serious about, but I was interested in. Um, my addiction was opiates at the time. And that was from when I was about 18 till 2016 was when I decided for real to get rid of it. And I know a lot of people look down upon addiction and things like that. And to be fair, I don't blame them. I know a lot of people, they get sober and then, they think that every addict deserves all this sympathy. But, a lot of the times addicts get into it. It's their choice, man. And ultimately, it's their choice every time they use. Because at some point when my daughter was born and stuff, I was just like, okay, like this is enough. I can't do this. I can't keep, ruining my own life, but ruining everybody's lives around me as well. It's very much a choice. And what bugs me is people that just, they don't find their kids worth it. And I get that everything is different for people, but I remember thinking like, if I can't see my daughter, like what is anything matter? And I've known people over the years in addiction that, 4 or 5 kids and they don't see any of them. And they just don't seem to care about it. I like I said, I guess it's everybody's different, but that was like my thing. I'm like, there's no way that I don't want to see my daughter. Like I couldn't even imagine. So that was part of that. But getting back to, we can do another episode on that sometime because I know a lot of people have gone through it as well. Whether or not personally, somebody close to them may have gone through it as well. And it's not a fun thing. But anyways, so like I said, back in like 2008, 2009, it was, I found Barack very interesting. And like even 2012, I remember thinking, oh my God, he needs to beat Romney. What is going on here? Like, and I don't think Romney had a chance ever, but I remember Kid Rock was like one of my favorites growing up. And I remember he was endorsing Romney, and I'm like, what are you doing? And even like Ted Nugent, I remember he was very like staunch Republican, and all these like musicians that I liked, I was like, what are they thinking? Now I look back at it and I'm like, okay, this is what they were thinking. They were like 40 years old at the time. Their brain was formed where mine wasn't. And I know I'm good. This video is supposed to be about like my history, but another tangent that I just wanted to go on very quickly was I've been noticing a lot lately. All of these people that are very left-wing activist later in life, they all have some kind of mental illness. Maybe not every single one for people that want to get literal, but Alyssa Milano, you think she doesn't have something wrong with her? She's got something wrong with her brain. To think that way as a 50-year-old woman, like all of these, what was that, Busy Phillips talking about how she was so proud of her abortions, and just all the activists in Portland, like 50-year-old people that get arrested, you look at them and they look so deranged. All of them. All the women have the short bangs up to here, facial tattoos, piercings. And then the guys, like in Kenosha, one of the Rittenhouse shooting practice dummies, he was a pedophile. And the other one is a criminal. Like, how do you hit two of the only people that you hit? Two of them were major criminals. And not just that, it's everywhere. Anytime these Antifa people get arrested that are like, they're running around with 20-year-old kids, 18-year-old kids, and they're like 50 years old. They're all for pedophilia, so they probably all are. It's disgusting. And it always comes out. And the mainstream media will never touch on that. They'll never talk about it. But it's like, they're all deranged in some way. Or one way or another, they're deranged. And like, if you were to choose one random 50-year-old Trump supporter, the left will call him a racist, I'm sure, but he won't have anything bad on his background, really. Like, yeah, I had my problems, but I don't have a criminal record. So, I mean, I always had somewhat of a conscience. And I think that's what pushed me away from the left, or like the more left side of things. But anyways, so Barack, like I said, back in like 2008, 9, 10, it was interesting because, he's a fresh face, and, people are like, okay, this is going to change the world. And you slowly saw all of his promises just dissipate into thin air. He would say something, and then, a couple months later, you'd follow up on it. Not even close. Wouldn't even have thought to be done. And I remember after 2012 was when it really hit me. Like, I wanted him to win 2012 so bad. And once, like, I think it was, what was it? There was some situation. I think it was the healthcare situation. He kept blaming the Republicans for why it wasn't working. And then the whole website thing, it cost so much money, and there were so many bugs, and it just, nobody could sign up, even though they were like being told by law they had to. I mean, it's unconstitutional to do that, but it's like, it seemed like he was trying to enforce it, so everybody had to do this. And even though he's making it like mandatory, he still can't get the bugs out of the website. And it was just like such a mess. And I'm like, this is what politics is. This guy comes out, talks very proper, calm, cool, collected, and just lies. Just lies. And that's what really made me like open my eyes and be like, okay, the left side, these Democrats are nothing different than the stuffy Republicans. They're all the same people. They're all the same people, all looking out for themselves at the end of the day. And I remember once the whole trans bathroom shit started, I was like, okay, this is getting out of hand, man. And like, just everything that followed that. And I was kind of black-pilled from politics. I didn't care about it at all at the time. And I was like, this isn't even interesting anymore. Like, back when I first started watching in like 2008, 9, 10, it was like you'd see all the crazy shit that the Republicans would say. I remember Sarah Palin went off the cuff a few times, and I was like so focused on these little like problems with them that I didn't realize how it was on both sides. It was just the shows I was watching were pointing it out on one side. And I remember Bill Maher back in those days, and this was before the race thing hit like a unprecedented level. But I remember one time he was talking about Obama, and he just said, the real reason that Republicans hate Barack, it's not because of his policies. It's not because of this. It's not because of that. It's because he's black. And they just want to call him a nigger. And I'm like, that's not why people don't like him. What are you talking about? Why would you think that? Why do you think that? Like, he's just not, is like these people's cup of tea. He's not what they want. Maybe there's some people that think that way, but in general, man, like they just don't want that style of politician. They don't want his policies. Like, why would you think that just because they don't like him, that they all think that way? I remember that like kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And when 2016 rolled around, I was so like, there's no way Trump's going to win. It's impossible. Like, this is so crazy. These chips are stacked against him so hard. And again, it was all the shit that I was just not paying attention to at the time and the stuff that I was paying attention to. I wasn't like major into CNN because I always found CNN very, very negative all the time. And I just like, I couldn't stand it. So I was more like MSNBC and Fox News kind of thing. But Fox News I watched to kind of make fun of at the time because I didn't know any better. And once I started paying attention to all the different news sources, I was like, holy shit, like what the hell is going on? All these years, I was like thinking that, these people are out to get these people and this and that because I was paying attention to like one side of things. And once I started really seeing what Trump was all about, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this is what people have needed for years. This whole trans bathroom and this and that, like, it's just the abortion bill. Because no matter what side I was on, I always thought abortion was wrong. It's just something that I've always thought. I've never been like, I would never get in somebody's face about it. You do what you want, but I would never even think to be able to do that. And if I was asked about it, I would say I was wrong. And I remember how proud they all were about these abortion bills. And I'm like, these people are monsters. But I wasn't into it. Like, it's like, fuck all this. And then when I started watching Trump and seeing like his whole, like the aura that he had, the swagger he had, and I'm like, this dude is actually going to make some changes. And while it's, it's debatable how many changes he actually made, we can hope that he makes more. But he just showed us all like, there can be something different. What the heck is on me? There can be something different than just the typical politicians. And it's like that whole thing spun such a wave of populism that people haven't seen before. These very straight to the point, off the cuff candidates that is, as much as you may not like what they're saying, they're not necessarily lying all the time the way the statesman politician does, And I know a lot of the hate about Trump is just, and not even about Trump. I mean, about his policies and things. People would rather be lied to by their friend than told the truth by their enemy. And that's just like a human nature thing. They would rather, hear their friends saying, no, everything's fine, than somebody they hate saying, No, like, dude, look at your life right now. Fix it. And I kind of get it, but it takes away from rational thinking as well. Not being able to hear both sides of an argument, or not being able to hear the truth, which is where we are. The truth is banned. It's banned on YouTube. It's banned on Facebook. It's banned on Twitter. It's banned on Instagram. They literally are putting up notifications now. I got one of these yesterday. One of the posts you liked had misinformation on it, and we took it down. Hey, princess. Hey, my kitty's here. Okay, you want to say hi? Come here. Let's say hi to the people first, okay? There she is. Hey, good girl. Okay. Oh, there's the other one too. Come here, girl. Here, Dora. Say hi. There you go. Yeah, so they gave me this thing saying that a post I liked had some kind of misinformation in it. So they're just letting me know that they took it down because it was toxic, or the literal word, harmful. Harmful was the word they used. And the reason they know it's harmful is because it conflicts with something that the World Health Organization said. One of the most corrupt organizations in the world. They're taking all their information from them. That's nothing new. That's been going on for a while, but these little flags that they're popping up at me saying we took down a post that you liked. Who gives a shit? Why would, unless it's propaganda, why would they push that so hard to tell me that something I liked in passing was wrong? It's insane, man. All the truth is being hidden, and craziness, hypocrisy, and lies are being pushed every day. It doesn't stop. You can say whatever you want about gender. You could say that there's 5,000. But if you say, I believe that there's 2, then a mob will get you. If you believe that Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, which it is, you get attacked. If you think that Antifa is a terrorist organization, you get attacked. To prove you wrong that we're not terrorists, we're going to terrorize you. Makes sense. That makes sense. It's the same as the trans thing. You telling me I'm mentally ill? I'm going to cut my dick off to prove you wrong. That's what their thought process is. But yeah, so by the way, I was never a cat person. And now I'm holding cats. I was very much a dog person. And crazy thing, these cats, I know a lot of people that have been on my channel for a bit. No, I'd found these cats behind my shed. Every year I, get all the weeds out of there. This year there was probably 3 or 4 weeds, and I had some wood piled back there. Well, this is the year that, hey buddy, that a cat has her litter of kittens and hides them in the wood. Really. So one day the dog's out back, and all of a sudden I hear some like rustling, or no, you know what? It was my kid's mom that heard the rustling, and I went out. She's like, something's back there. So then I had hit it, like used a stick and like kind of rustled this weed. And then I heard the rustling. So I was like, uh-oh. I go to the other side, and a little black cat head sticks out. I'm like, oh my God. So I grab my kid's mom, And I'm like, we got to get these cats out. Like, well, this cat, I thought at first. So pull the one out, pop, another one comes out. Pop, another one comes out. Pop, another one comes out. We're like, whoa. So there's 4, and one takes off. Well, our dog was, hey girl, our dog was out back, and unfortunately, she got one. And so we were kind of upset about that. And, we go in the house, we got these 4 cats now, and we're like, what do we do? And we let the dog outside, and she gets another one. We didn't know that there was another one. Princess, what's the matter? She's meowing about something right now. Craziness. So the dog got 2 of them, which was pretty upsetting. But I mean, we saved 4, and we fostered them for like a month and a half, and then we had to bring them back, and we decided to keep 2. That's Princess and Dora. Those are the ones our kids chose. They wanted to keep. We let them each pick one. We were all close to 1 each. So we're like, okay, unfortunately, we can only keep 2. There's 2 dogs here, 2 kids, 2 adults. We can't have 4 cats. So we picked those 2. And that's the story of how I'm now a cat guy. These cats follow me everywhere, and they want to sit on my shoulder all the time. It's strange, man. I was never into cats at all. Anywho, yeah, that's about it. That's my origin story, and I will catch up with you guys in a couple days. Thank you for watching.